Let's go straight to my next guest, former Conservative Party leader Sir Iain Duncan Smith, who joins us. Good morning to you, Sir Iain.
Morning,
Good
Julia.
morning. Prime Minister yesterday marking the 1 year anniversary of the start of lockdown. A very sort of, I have to say, mawkish day in terms of most of the media. I have to say, I was having none of it yesterday. I really found it all utterly intolerable. The way people were looking back and as if we were out of the pandemic when millions of people are still locked down in their homes, losing their jobs, and so much damage has been done. But the Prime Minister talked about how he would be haunted by the pandemic for the rest of his life. Do you think that the Prime Minister and the Cabinet have actually grasped the full effects, both currently and long term, of their policy decisions over the past year?
Well, like everything else, we'll have to wait, I think, fully for any look back in detail about what happened, what went right, what went wrong. I mean, it's quite clear that it just wasn't, to be fair to the Prime Minister and the government, it wasn't just politicians that didn't quite understand how this was going to work at the beginning. The scientists and their advice was also much the same. It was caught up. At first they were looking at things like herd immunity, etc. Then they changed their mind. And the truth is science is still changing its mind, and in fact now becoming very, very cautious to the extent that this is informing the nature of when we can unlock, and that's going to have a big long-term effect on businesses. So there's a balance here between how we reacted to COVID and how we're reacting to the need to get business moving as well. So I think we need to take this, as you say, across all those spectrums, not just the one.
Well, let's talk about the prospect that this morning the European Commission are going to publish a document basically saying that the policy will be they will not be exporting vaccines to any countries which have got a better, faster, bigger rollout of the vaccine than the EU has. Well, we know that certainly includes the UK. This will obviously mean it's not an anti-UK post-Brexit issue. It's just a protecting the EU issue. What do you make of that decision, especially given that Angela Merkel appeared yesterday to be rolling back from that position?
I think there's a bit of a split going on in the European Union. I think what they've realized now is they've behaved really badly in the course of this pandemic. They've committed the sin that they said the UK was guilty of, which is, frankly, nationalism. They've decided that the UK was to blame because the UK got in earlier and bought more vaccines. Well, now I gather they're rowing back slightly on this. So they don't want to. They're trying now to disguise, it appears to me, that they really do mean the UK. So those who have rolled out faster and better, etc. Well, that would be us. And the ironic thing is that the UK also is part of this in the sense that if they start banning supply of fully completed vaccines, some of those vaccines won't be completed because some of the materials are here in the UK. So the reality is it's trying to disguise, as it was from the beginning, the idea that they failed to get this organized properly. There was actually quite a good MEP on from Belgium this morning on one of the radio programs, and he just explained that the Commission and individual politicians had behaved very badly over the vaccine rollout, and now they needed to get their act together and not ban things going to other countries, but to try and get this right so that they can actually get the right delivery. I mean, they got millions of AstraZeneca vaccines stockpiled across the European Union, and now they're talking about banning exports because they want more. Well, they don't use them at the moment properly.
That has been extraordinary. In fact, on this show earlier, we spoke to a German journalist talking about the confusion, disarray and rebellion that's going on in Germany over all of this. Indeed. Let's talk about what happens going forward, though, because we've got this warning of the third wave that's coming over from Europe, but we're told, vaccinations were the answer. Everyone was told, give up Christmas in return for January, give up January and February in return for Easter. Now we're giving up Easter in return for the summer holidays. Now we're not being even told we're going to get summer holidays. Have the vaccinations because that's the route out. Everyone's queued up to get the vaccinations. 2 million people over the last weekend. I know people who in their 40s who were told they were able to get vaccinations in the last couple of days. Hundreds of people at a vaccination centre in London where they were turned away on the day say, oh no, now we've decided we're not giving those vaccinations, even though the official ban hasn't started yet. People literally, they're doing exactly what they're told to do. And we're still almost 3 months away from the earliest possible date when we could be free. Who's not keeping up their side of the bargain?
Well, I think part of the problem here is, honestly, with the scientists at the moment, is because all those advisors who told us that and it's true, the solution to this is vaccination. It has always been the solution. And we have discovered bit by bit that the vaccines are even more efficacious than we thought originally. So we know now from all of the numbers that have been vaccinated, the latest figures show that you are incredibly less likely to be passing on any virus now once you've been vaccinated. At first, they weren't sure about that. Now it's, within a matter of 2 or 3% likely to pass on. Secondly, they are absolutely more robustly than they thought, a protection against getting coronavirus. Or if you do, and you're one of that very small single figure percentage terms, then you will get it mildly. You won't get it in a way that would threaten you. All of the at-risk people pretty much have been vaccinated. There are pockets which are still not wanting to take the vaccine. I was struck in my area that there's a significant number of health workers inside care homes who won't take the vaccine. And I think this has got something to do with some of the mess that's been coming back from Europe about the nonsense over blood clots and sterility and not being effective against people over 50. All of this has got to be mopped up. But the truth is, going forward, we're now hearing from the scientists saying, "Well, it's not going away. This virus." Well, of course, it's not going to go away. We still see, the Spanish flu variant keeps coming back from 1918, but we will cope with it through the vaccine. So either the vaccines are effective, which they said they are, or they're not. If they're effective, then we can afford to lock down, and we shouldn't be scaring everybody about, we can't do this and we can't do that once we unlock. We've got to get unlocked. The vaccines are proof. Yes, we'll keep up to speed with it. Yes, we must check against different variants. But so far, the variants that have come have all been shown to be defeated by these vaccines. So I think we've got to stop the scare story stuff now and just calm everything down and say, right, we have a roadmap. If we can get there quicker, let's do it. If it proves that we can do it and we get more people vaccinated, let's get people back so that we can get normal life back together.
All hail to that. Just final question to you, though. I mean, we were told repeatedly that we wouldn't have any mandatory vaccines. It would be a free choice. And of course, now there's expectation that care home workers and NHS workers on the front line will have mandatory vaccines. And I think there are a lot of people who will understand the need for that, even though they worry about the slippery slope. And the slippery slope is a concern for everyone, because we were told we wouldn't have vaccine passports, and now we're told, they'll be needed for travel abroad, probably, but also possibly even for going to the pub or the cinema or the theatre or anything else here. And then we were told it was vaccination just for adults, and now they're doing tests on children, and now there's talk of rolling out the vaccine to children in August ahead of schools returning in September. You can understand why a lot of people who weren't conspiracy theories are perfectly sensible people. They're up with the facts, up with the news, who worry that every time we give an inch, the government takes a mile.
Yes, I can understand that, and I must say there's been a lot of scurrilous stuff on the internet about what happens to you if you take these vaccines, and of course it's scared quite a lot of people, many of whom don't sometimes speak English very well, who don't know who to turn to. I've been volunteering in my local vaccination centre, and talking to people as they come through. And some of them confessed that they really, really, really weren't going to come, but they were persuaded finally by friends to turn up because they had had all these terrible stories about it. So I don't mind how many people get the vaccine. Clearly, we want as many people as possible. If they decide that they want to give it to children as well later in the year, that's fine. The key thing is the vaccine is how we get out of this lockdown. So let's get it out there. The key thing here is that let's stop all the sort of scurrilous scare stories, either against vaccinations or for that matter, to tell us, even though the scientists told us the vaccine is now proving to be incredibly potent against coronavirus, somehow we may have to lock down again in the autumn. This sort of language just stops people wanting to go and take the vaccine. Then what's the point?
Exactly.
If we're going to lock down again, what we should be saying is take the vaccine and we can return to normal life. Yes, we have to keep an eye on things, but let's not keep threatening lockdowns later on and the virus isn't going away. We know that already. Yeah. But this is protection against the virus.
So Iain Duncan Smith, we'll have to leave it there